Alright, we're back. Nós está ding regresso mo mesa. Mi tingala di sinta papi oras e horas ku Minister Otley pero nós ting kuwag su agenda tame televidente pero interessante, super interessante conversação corda bom wak isa aqui back tambe riba nos YouTube channel depois ku ela passa riba Flow canal 9 tour e outro canal nang ku nos Dutch Caribbean Television tariba J. Agora que nós vai conversar maneira mabisabo over the data, pero também informação, tecnologia para mitigar a situação de pandemia aqui na St. Maarten. And I know you picked up a few words. I talked about technology, I talked about data. Everything is becoming digital now. And I remember during one of the DCOM press conferences, you mentioned, somebody was giving you a little flack for, these decisions, blah, blah, blah. And you mentioned that certain decisions you have to look at science and also what data the scientists are generating and with regards to this pandemic. And then you were so pleased that with the QR codes, I think way ahead of a lot of the other islands in the Dutch Caribbean, and before people were able to ask the question, yes, but what about the people that contracted COVID, and what about you in your book or in your QR code you only have one vax, and because you had COVID, and before people were able to ask that question, you already brought forward what you were working on. In this day and age, with people having to stay to 1.5 meters, 2.5 meters, and the digital world, let's talk about that because you are the generation, let's say that everything is a click. First things was a skip and a hop, but now everything is a click away. Let's talk about how important technology is to you as a minister.
Technology is the way. First of all, during the COVID, technology is what kept us able to work. I was in Parliament at the time when it first came to St. Martin, the COVID-19, and we were able to have Parliament meetings like nothing because there was Zoom and Teams meeting. And we're actually able to communicate, whether it's Holland, Curacao, Bonaire, St. Martin, and have productive meetings due to technology. The reason that we were able to survive was that we were able to get the airport open in a safe manner by using the EHAS.
Yeah.
We developed the EHAS where persons have to register the information and their valid tests before coming to St. Martin now, or your vaccination, of course, now. So all of this technology is what allowed us to say, okay, let us start to have some activity in St. Martin. Let us have people coming back to St. Martin, which saved us. With the QR code, there's a lot of issues we're seeing with falsification of vaccination cards, And I think right now everyone keeps their phone sacred. Everyone keep their phone. So if you can have your vaccination QR in your phone, it alleviate you from saying, oh, I don't have my card is home. And the verification is amazing because our QR is a European QR code, which means Germany, Holland, France, we all have the same system. Aruba and Curacao is now on board, and it's something that we hope that America will join, but it's one of the best way for verification. I saw just a quick story. Someone said, they admitted to me, they said, I'm not vaccinated, and I want you to look, I have a QR that is identical to yours, and it was so good. And when I took the scanner, it showed me the correct name.
Okay.
So it was a good QR code, but not for. Okay. So Adam showed it to me, but when I scanned
it was Paul's.
So that alone made me feel very confident in the DCC scanner, but we're using the verification process. Of course, nothing is 100%, but listen, I rather 90% than 0.
And speaking of, a big issue when COVID came out was governments were scrambling because they didn't have data, so they didn't know how many people needed emergency assistance, they didn't know how many people needed vouchers, they didn't know how many people, businesses needed the salary assistance. How did that go on St. Martin?
Well, a lot of it turned to my ministry, the Ministry of VSR, where we know we give social assistance. We use SMDF. They helped a lot because they're subsidized by us, so they often help us with whether it's unemployment. So a lot of the information was used by them. We opened registries where people can go and register their information. So that was a plus. And as far as like COVID data, the collection of COVID data is done by the CPS. They are also collecting the vaccination data. There's a team. So data now, we realize the importance of it, the importance of having it. And we were in talks with the Red Cross Netherlands last I was here to do a more preparedness study for in the case of a hurricane and etc., where we know immediately what districts to hit, what's the vulnerability in those districts, how do we assist.
Most people are saying, and I need to look at the director because I lost track of the time basically, but I'm going to go until he tells me to stop. Most people would say, you know, okay, we got like 10, 15, okay. Yes, I could throw a little bit more on that. Most people would say, you know, every time we're nearing towards the end of the year, and most people say, wow, you know, COVID taught us so much, we learned so much about COVID. And I'm going to pose a question to you as a minister, but also as Mr. Otley, the man. It's a two-parter. What, as leader of the country, one of the leaders of the countries, you know, what has this pandemic taught you as a minister of VSA?
Well, as minister of VSA, and Mr. Otley too, it taught me appreciation. It taught me not to take anything for granted. It was amazing to see that, and not amazing in a good sense, but so amazing to see that young people, some young men, when I say young, I mean in their 30s, would be in critical condition, would be suffering strokes today due to COVID-19. Would be suffering from whether it's paralysis from COVID-19, they recovered, but suffering from COVID-19, or even those that died. I know people that have said they were positive, and 2 weeks later they died, and like that quick. So it really taught us that, you know, we have no idea what tomorrow holds, and that was one of my biggest fear, is that was our fourth wave.
Yeah.
And I often tell the people, you survived the first, second, third. The person that survived the third wave thought, okay, we survived. And here comes the fourth that took them away. We have no idea what the future holds. I pray that it don't have a fifth wave. But we have to count our blessings and be happy. Be happy that we are here today.
Yes, amen, amen. Preventative medicine, you know, most people are, they're more concerned now more than ever with their health. You know, they're trying to eat right, etc. But the same thing that we get on most of the islands, you know, when you try to eat healthy and try to eat right and try to have your immune system in a certain way, although most people would beg to differ that if your immune system is, let's say, to hell, you know, it takes more than just a few apples and oranges to bring it to where it is. It's more of a lifestyle choice, a lifestyle change that you need to do. And of course, you're the Minister of Health and Labor, which with both of them, that you have a great ministry.
Yeah,
you know, both of them are like, you know, one
Sometimes.
can't be without the other. You know, and let's talk about prevention, no? Because before COVID, most people didn't really worry about prevention. It was just, you know, en passant, you know, eat healthy and have the healthy lifestyle. And how does your ministry now look at that prevention and having that healthy lifestyle, even though most people would say, you know, I try to eat healthy, but when I go to the supermarket, you know, I can't really afford to eat healthy on a regular basis.
Yeah, correct. That's something very important that you said. You said lifestyle. And that's what we try to tell a lot of people when those that don't want to be vaccinated, they say, all I need to do is eat healthy and
drink the bush tea.
If you have been living unhealthy for 30 years, you're not going to be healthy in a week, or you're not going to be healthy in a couple of months. It's a lifestyle. It's something that you continuously do, and you make it a part of your life, your daily routine. That's number one. So it's never too late to start, but I want to recommend, don't do it for a month, do it as a lifestyle. Number two, yes, we do know that you can go to McDonald's and you buy a big burger for $1, and then you want the salad, it's $8. Unfortunately, the world has made it this way that it's harder to eat healthy. That's why, as in the ministry, we are promoting agriculture. We have done courses in which on my tenure, I have signed over 50 certificates to persons that have passed their training to learn how to produce and reproduce their own garden, etc. This was actually the second one. The first one I attended, I was invited by the previous Minister of ASR, and it was such a success that they did a second one. So we're going to continue this aspect, continue to support agriculture and find ways. I know the Ministry of Rummy is also interested in trying to see where we can allocate some land to do some farming.
Yeah.
So hopefully that can be done. Within the Ministry of TIAT, there was just a presentation. Unfortunately, prices went up all over the world, and as you know, there's a big problem with even
the
shipping in
containers
containers. So all of this is causing, and where there's scarcity, there's increase in pricing.
Yep.
So unfortunately, those are the things that we are dealing with right now, but it's not a St. Martin problem. I'm pretty sure
it's a world price. It's in Bonaire, it's in Curacao, it's in Aruba.
So this is something that we definitely looking into. I know the Prime Minister has requested advice to do a cost of living assessment. So once this is found, then we can really make some decisive decisions. So at a whole, you see, I mentioned the different ministries because collectively, it's not just about me. It's a teamwork and collaboration. I think that together we can address many problems. Not all, but many.
Yeah. One step at a time, one day at a time. Mr. Otley, time for just one last quick break. And when we come back from this break, we're going to wrap up. It's December. So I'm going to let you think about your Christmas message before we close, what you'd really like the people to know. And speaking of the people, I want you to touch when we come back on those community meetings that you're having. Okay. Almost forgot. O espaço comercial cortico, ora nós estamos back, nós está wrap up nossa conversação especial com o Ministro Otley, pero tem mensaje mais interessante, mas também para compartilhar com o tour.